113, 112, and 111.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen that. So which one?
Oh, I love that. I think that's wonderful. I love that streak of yellow.
I like the expression.
The most exciting thing in the world is to spot talent, but also to be able to say that to somebody else. Yeah, that's magic.
It's sometimes quite a rare thing to catch, but when you do, it's extra special.
Positioning.
The other black doesn't give any spatial depth, does it? So that hand could be further forward, but it's not.
The Royal Society of Portrait Painters is a charity, and its mission statement is the promotion and appreciation of the art of portraiture. I think it provides a forum for that conversation to take place.
The selection is really the start of this curating, basically, the annual show.
We have a original digital round of selection, inevitably, because we get thousands of entries every year. And out of that digital round of selection, we're looking at about 300 physical works, from which we select probably about 100 for the final hang.
I like the yellow.
Yeah, I like the yellow. The yellow's one too. Yeah. I like the blue shadow, but it's all put together.
That is out.
It's a shame because that's got a lovely light to it. And it's just not.
The second round of selection for the exhibition is a physical selection.
It is our most important backstage day of the year, where we are going through hundreds of works.
Portraiture is a very, very broad church.
And we've seen every style.
It's a very eye-opening process for us as well to see this kind of incredible range of work.
Also, she painted it under those conditions.
It's supposed to be a different tradition, right?
Yeah.
There's no one way of painting a portrait, but what I like to think is that we recognise the best of all those different approaches.
Also, you sort of see artists you've not seen before, and young, emerging kind of artists.
And so to have the work come in with members of the society to judge it, it just adds a layer of uniqueness. And again, it's part of that cultural heritage.
What we aim to do, of course, is represent the best of that broad spectrum.
The thing that makes the RP very different is that every person on the panel, their life, they're invested in paint every single day.
Very long arm, but I think it's all stretched by.
Yeah, I mean it's
all stretched in proportion to itself.
Can we have a look on the back row?
but it's just not quite. I don't think it's a bit refined.
We are assessing people who have decided they might want to join the society.
If somebody's interested in becoming a member, they have to apply to exhibit in our annual exhibition, so that's the first step.
So that person was a candidate?
The process is anonymous, but I recognise work, and what I'd like to see, particularly with those who we might want to push towards candidacy for membership, is I love to see the work jump forward every year.
What's the rest of the work like? I don't know.
It's like this.
It's like this.
Like that.
This is what he does all the time. He's very consistent. This is what he does.
Always.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, it's always
Well, sometimes
drawing,
it's acrylic, but it looks like a drawing.
He did a
So
big series of
it's-
comedians, didn't he?
Yeah, aesthetically it's always like this.
I like the expression.
So we want to encourage more diversity in our membership and more diversity in representation of portraiture.
It is an enormously important part of today's process. Very exciting to see all of this work and consider what we might have on a regular basis from one artist who might become a member.
The most important goals was the idea that you could be part of a community.
Once somebody's been on the candidates list, they're very much on our radar.
We're not just custodians of this kind of genre where we should be looking to push portraiture forward constantly.
On the right. That's it.
Was that a full house, that one, or not quite?
Full house.
That's 10.
That really works. Yeah.
Okay,
votes on this, please.
Yeah, quite sort of a lot of it. Yeah, I like that. Yes, it's got like print.
You can only really get a true sense of the quality of a work when you stand in front of it physically.
The more you look, the more you see the little
Yeah.
things, the little choices.
It's also that simple joy of seeing something expressed in paint where you can feel the texture and you can see the and it's just such a kind of sensuous thing that you see in painting.
When you see something like that on a screen, you don't get any kind of feeling of the subtleties. It doesn't really give you enough information, just that sort of flat image.
They've got a whole physicality which you simply cannot appreciate unless you're in front of the painting.
Does this one come? Oh yeah, sorry.
I quite like the sort of subtlety of the expression on that scale.
Could you do me a favour? Can you just tilt it forward slightly? That's what it's called.
You don't get a sense of the size of the idea into the proportion of the painting.
You know, scale is really important. You know, you see something in a digital file and then you see it in reality and it's absolutely huge. And that can either be a good thing or it can be a bad thing.
I kind of agree with Miriam actually, because I think when a picture is that large in the exhibition, that's going to be a massive statement. If that goes in the show, that's going to be you're going to see that from 200 yards.
I prefer that one to the other one, but I prefer them both from a distance.
And it's not, pictorially it's not holding together. Do you know what I mean? It's like
So you will get sometimes quite large paintings that seem to be bigger than they need to be. At the same time, what can be rewarding is when you get quite small, precious paintings and you see them in the flesh.
But as a complete contrast, we've got those two little ones at the back.
I know.
Because you couldn't get much further away in terms of scale.
And the scale of the idea is much larger than the size of the painting itself.
I think it's fantastic.
Yes,
It's so good, it's got plenty, I mean it really works from here and I quite enjoy it when it's
There's a lot that you can decide about a work on a digital format, whether the composition works, whether it doesn't work, whether the work looks competent on a very basic level or not. But then there's a kind of next layer of criticism really, which is to do with the quality of the painting.
You're supposed to experience them at the size that they're created. And so seeing them in the flesh, you're able to see them as the artist intended, and you get that sense of presence from them.
Her gaze is so confident. I really, really like it.
Yeah.
I just love it.
I hope so.
And it's a riot, but it's of colour and expression, but so controlled.
Exactly, it reflects the city's personality.
Yeah, I think the nose is very distinctive.
Tilt it forward to the top.
You know, you can get close to it, you can sort of really see the different textures of the paint, which is very satisfying.
The kind of the materiality of the painting, how the paint has been handled, its kind of atmospheric qualities. You know, these things you really only appreciate when you're standing in front of the work.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Anthony Connolly, and I'm the president of the Royal Society of Portrait Painters. And it's my great pleasure to welcome everybody here today. The Smallwood Architecture Prize, which goes to Miriam Escofet. By Florence U. King. Florence.
And really you gave us the hardest task ever. We've got Bruce Dicton, Charlie Pickard and Kim van den Ende.
You know, you think about these paintings afterwards, because there's a person behind it.